Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is Thursday. It is Consciousness Conversation with Thomas and myself. We are happy to be here with you. And we really wanted to continue the conversation about the causal chakra because this is a very interesting time where the energies are shifting in a way that many of us are experiencing new sensations and new connections. And it has a lot to do with this transcendent chakra, which is a very, very old or reawakening part of our system that is allowing us to connect unlike ever before. And so I'm really excited about having this conversation because last week's conversation with Dr. Thomas bringing in all the science, I really was learning things myself, especially about melatonin. So very excited to hear what we're going to talk about today. And I'm just glad that you're all with us. So thank you for being here. And if you're watching on the replay, please hashtag replay. Join your energy to the community. So hello, Dr. Thomas.
Hola, I'm just sharing this out a
Oh,
few seconds here, so bear
nice.
with me for a second.
Yeah. Good. Welcome, everyone who is joining us, whether you're joining us from Facebook, whether you're joining us from YouTube. So please like and subscribe if you have not joined my YouTube channel. I would appreciate that. And thank you for each and every one of you who are joining my Facebook group, whether you have been with me, whether you have just found me. I'm appreciating all of the new followers on my app. And now we're doing Subkit. So more information will be coming on that soon, but all that information can be found at guidance311.com.
Woohoo! So I finished that. So the causal chakra. Uh, so last week we talked about this, and we've got our chakras, and so where this one is located, it's a little different. You got you got your crown, third eye, your throat, your heart. I always get these two mixed up, but you have the
Solar plexus.
solar, sacral, and then root. All right, see S and S. Why didn't it be S's next to each other? Anyways, uh, they're there. The 10th chakra is located like right here in the back of your head. And for a long time, especially in the early ages, in the early humanity, it was part of the human body. And so it's often to believe, some say it's a third eye, but really it's where the pineal gland
Mhm.
is your 10th chakra that connects you up with your 11th and 12th, what they're all about here, and just your connection with spirit, with other dimensions, with what's around you. And that's what it's about. And I say something right off the bat. It was in the body, and we
Yeah,
lost
I
its
mean,
way.
yeah, the
Mm-hmm.
information that I was reading was it was an actual like physical it was part of our head. It was physical. There was a we had kind of a jutting out situation going on in the back of our head where it was part of us. And in all these thousands of years somehow that got changed or shifted.
And that's the thing, change or shifted because it's still in the body. So let me explain. The pineal gland is right where the 10th chakra, causal chakra, has been, and has always been thought to be. It's right at the top of the spine, the back of the neck, where they connect together, the back of the head. In that gland, two different chemicals are released and produced because of it. Serotonin, melatonin. Serotonin wakes us up. It's daytime. Now, this gland is light sensitive, so when it's light out and stuff, it's going on. It's serotonin's coming out. It's getting your body the energy for daytime. Gets us up and busy. Melatonin does the opposite. It puts us more into a state of peace, state of sleep, and it does a lot. It actually chemically it can heal the body. Uh, as stress levels go up, melatonin levels go down, and serotonin goes up because the peace. This is the active one. The peace one goes down, and so it does a lot. It really does. I'm not going to go into everything from last time, but the key is the pineal gland releases that melatonin. It's an antioxidant, which means it helps with cancer, helps with heart disease, and much more too. So this is a really important thing, and it's located right here, right there. And if you took, this is really cool, the eye of Horus, if you took the brain and cut it in half, right where the pineal gland is, right where this 10th chakra is, right there is actually, it's the eye of Horus. It's identical. I don't have the picture in front of me to show it to you, but I've done this before, and it's right there. Also inside, doing the science with this, also inside this are small, it's like micro, I can't say the word, extremely small crystals. They're less than 20 microns in shape. They're rhombohedron. I can't pronounce rhombohedron in shape, and they can get activated. And when they get activated, other things happen. They're almost like a transducer. It's like electrical properties that are in them, and they produce more chemicals, more like transducer. Let's just think about that real fast. Transducer, like an antenna on your brain, an antenna coming out of you, a receptor. That's
Yeah.
what it is. Okay. It's this electromagnetic energy. That's the piezoelectrical properties of this. Okay. Now we're getting really technical here. What does this all mean? When we activate the pineal gland, and we can activate these crystals inside there, what we're doing is the melatonin is going to start flowing a little more. Not necessarily that we're going to go tired and fall asleep, but what the melatonin does, it heals the body, creates less stress, brings on more peace, and it also activates additional chemicals to go out in the body, which are there. But when we activate these crystals, we're activating this electrical properties in this transducer. So like turning on this electrical charge, and it's opening us up to receiving that which we cannot receive in a normal way, opening us up to giving messages to being in other states, which has been where you can calculate and been studied, where people are in meditation, where people are having these visions or having these other reality experiences, talking with spirit, whatever you want to call it. It's happening right there.
And I love this because, I've been telling people for the past few years now who come to me and are like, well, I can't do what you can do. Yes, you can. And so I've been really enjoying teaching the evidential mediums course, the intuitive guidance course, whatever it is, because what really the foundation that I'm giving you is the way in which to activate this antenna that we all have. So I'm loving the fact that we can now, through this information, know that it's not woo-woo. It's not just for a certain few people who are lucky enough to. No, it's everybody can activate this within themselves. Everybody can have this connection. And that's where a lot of people at this time, because of all of the other energy shifts, and we've talked about them and we'll talk about them again, but it's really activating many, many people in this area to be able to experience and sense the other dimensions, their clairs, whether it's their clairaudience, their clairsentience, and their clairvoyance. So this is what I'm loving about this conversation is it's a conversation everybody should be able to get something from, because even if you've never felt like you've experienced spirit or you've seen a ghost or however you want to think about it this way. Have you gotten that gut reaction to something? Have you had a gut instinct about something? That's how they communicate first and foremost. And then it starts to really activate all of these other systems. And the other analogy I love to give is that it's like building a muscle. Like if you start lifting weights, you're going to start building muscle in other parts of your body to support where you're working out. And that's what happens with your clairs. When you start developing one, you then will start to develop others as you go, as you practice, as you get into practice, in whatever way that works for you. So this, I thought, was a really important conversation to have today.
And so, how do you do this? How do you start this process? And so, one thing to think about, and I explained, is the magnetic field. It's like, think about an egg or an apple. The tops are narrow, the middle is round. That's where the energy is. That's why you just said you get the gut first, feeling first. This is where the big energy is, around this part of the body. So what you want to do is move this energy up. And so when you the brain fluid moves when all happen, but the simplest way of putting this is when you inhale, if you breathe in and you contract your muscles here, you can contract yourself. You're contracting, you're breathing in, and then you're moving the air back up your spine. But really what you're doing is you're moving the spinal fluid up. And it's going up and it's reaching right where the pineal gland is. And when it reaches that, it activates the hairs, little hairs in the gland, which activate the whole thing, activates the crystals, and it releases various chemicals. And these chemicals are now coming out of the body. And they're going, well, not coming out, but going through the body. And they're really creating this amazing feeling. This release is coming through. Your gamma waves, they're coming out. So now you're becoming even more super aware, more conscious. You're having this release of energy. The way they described it is like it can be like an orgasm in the brain. It's like this release of the kundalini. Uh, the antennas are going up and things are now flowing. Your brain waves start slowing down when you go through this, and especially when you do it when you're going into meditation. Your brain waves start slowing down, and your consciousness begins to change, and you're almost opening that door to the subconscious because you've got the breath coming in, the chemicals coming up. You're releasing the pineal glands, activating. It's sending out the transducers. The magnetic field is shifting. The energy is going up here. The chemicals are going through your body that are just feeling amazing. The gland becomes fully activated, and you now are existing beyond your senses. This orderlessness is happening, which a greater degree of harmony and oneness is actually occurring because of it. All your chakras are now becoming fully active and aligned because everything is being fully aligned when this is released. The oxytocin is created and released, and it shuts the lights out for pain, for fear, aggression, and anger. And what remains when this happens is love and joy. So think about it. You're breathing in, you're getting to a state of peace because what you're doing is you're activating your pineal gland. The pineal gland is being activated. That's your 10th chakra when it comes to it. It's inside the body. It's being activated. These crystals inside of it are causing this magnetic release. The hairs are vibrating, releasing the oxytocin and other chemicals in the body that are all about joy. It's almost like an orgasm in your brain because it's happening within inside of you because you're releasing it and you're controlling it. At the same time, the melatonin is now coming out, and what you're doing is you're shifting your consciousness to subconsciousness. You're going to a different state. You're opening that door to what can be. Your sensing is coming different. Your senses are no longer about what you feel, touch, smell, hear. It's about things you can't do within the normal order of the five senses in the human life. Because you're setting yourself up, you're moving the energy from here to here. You're putting this antenna out there, and the body's preparing itself for what it needs to with the energy up here, for love and for joy. When you're in that love and joy state, you can then be more open and receptive to things that are around you that you can't see when you're in a fear, worry, and scared state. More chemicals are released throughout the body, throughout the hearts, the lungs. Everything starts feeling amazing and so alive. Then a second field in the brain reverses the flow, and two more chemicals are produced. Antioxidants, antioxidants and benzodiazepine. I'm not even going to go into. No one cares about the sciences. These are they produce dimethyltryptamine. I'm not a scientist, I'm just a doctor. But these then help form this imagery. So you're able then to open up energy up there, and you open up, and you start seeing this new energy, new senses. There's like six senses coming out for this profound inner vision. The person in this state, when they go through here, they're active with the pineal gland, have us going, is having a full-on sensory experience without using their five senses. That is the important thing. You're going through, you're activating yourself, you're opening up things you never thought you could open because we all can do it, and you're having this full-on sensory experience without using the senses. Now, hold on. I've got the stats going to blow everyone away, all right? You're thinking,
Okay.
you're talking all this BS, whatever you're going through, okay? Other chemicals can be enhanced and your cells can be upgraded. Things can happen when you go into these states. It's always different. It's always what you need to know and what you need at that time. It's going to be different every time you do it. Okay? When the pineal gland is activated, we are also downloading information. So it's open, it's going, it's coming out there. We can see imagery, we're sensing in a new way. We're also going to download information, get information that we need, help our bodies. Okay? The key with this, though, to understand is your brain waves are increasing and changing, and they can be measured. And so there's a coherence that's happening in this process of the brave wings energy, and they're shifting from one type of wave to another type of wave. And these waves are tough to get to, but when you go through this process, it becomes very easy to get to. Now, the gamma waves, what they've studied when they've put people in these states and they've gone through this activation, if you're not in it, they can measure you when you're sleeping and stuff, and you get the normal gamma rays. When they do studies like this, and the participants go through this type of exercise, activating the pineal gland and going through that, and these extrasensories, and it's happening to them. The standard deviation of these gamma rays. Explain the standard deviation. You have the middle. So if you have this is the standard deviation, this pen's the middle point. Okay? One standard deviation away, two standard deviations away. This is like 60-some% of the people fall into this range. Two standard deviations away, you have 99% of the people fall into that range. Two standard deviations away. I'm not 100% accurate with all the numbers, but that's basically what it is. So in the standard bell curve, you got the middle. Within the two standard deviations, and within three, imagine that you got like 99.9999999% of all the population. The gamma wave occurrence that is measured during these states is 200 deviations. Sorry, more than 200 deviations away from the standard deviation. So we're talking about go 200 more of these, and that's where you're getting the measurements of this compared to when it's not happening. So it is more than statistically significant that something is happening and changed because of what is being done and being activated inside you. That's a supernatural amount of energy.
Yeah. And that's why this is so important, because we're starting to now come into realizing that there's more than just us in this human form in this life experience that we're having, and to be able to open up to that and to be able to tap into that and to be able to now what I call live in alignment, right? Getting into connection with your highest self, or these, higher, the higher levels of brain activation, or being activated at those higher levels, where we're able to tap into that information that is always around us. But if you're not able to tap into it, then it doesn't help you.
Right.
And now we're learning how to do that, how to tap into it. And it just really excites me that we now have this information that says, hey, you're not alone, and you don't have to struggle. You don't have to have it hard. You don't have to not be able to manifest the things that you want, that you're here to have, because we're all here to have joy and love. And so the other part of the conversation last week that we started to talk about, that I thought was really important to also come back to, was now that we have this information that we can all access, how we are biologically predisposed to get into this connection. Why are we being programmed, or have been programmed, not to be in this connection? And so that's the concern. That's the concern.
And we talked a little bit about that last week too. Why are we feeling that way? Now, let me just share one more thing about this.
Okay.
Also, when you activate and you go through this, you're activating the pineal gland, or your 10th chakra. Same thing, same right there. That activates 11 and 12, which are all about up here because of the antenna that's going up there. You're going through the waves. So you start off with, theta waves, and they come larger and larger, and they keep on going, and then you get to the gamma waves that come in. But when they also take video of your brain, so they can the whatever it's called, the ultrasounds, whatever, the area around the pineal gland lights up. And it lights up beyond the normal standard deviation as well. So we're not just activating ourselves just because we can, breathing in, coming up, and we're not built like that. But the gamma wave, go out at such a high occurrence, 200 standard deviations away from the norm. And at the same point, the brain activity and the color is so different than what it normally is. It's at multiple standard deviations away from the center as well. So these are statistically significant things that happen. Your brain lights up when you're going through these stages, and you're able to produce these gamma wave rays that do so much to be transducers that can bring in the energy, take down the message, let your senses go above and beyond. But we've been sheltered from this for so long because we have been. Because as we talked about, the question was asked last week about uh, ancient time. I might even brought this up back in ancient times and Lemurian stuff, and you mentioned that the 10th the chakra was there. Yes, it was much more low because we were more in a matriarchal society, and that was much more accepted. When we switched over to a patriarchal society, we had other things happen to the earth and adjust what was going on. We went through a whole different change. The spiritual stuff, the things we could do, were brought down levels. And eventually it was seen as shamanism, as voodoo, as bad things. And so it wasn't continued because we didn't understand it, because it wasn't physical and no longer was there. And more than anything, let's put it this way, the people in charge did not have that ability, did not have that power, and you needed to keep power and control.
Control. Control. You said it. Control. Yeah.
And so now we're at a point where things are shifting. We're entering a whole new era. We're entering a state. I tell this to people, I shared it a few times. Imagine saying to yourself, I was alive and around at 0. When, Christ was born, in those first couple years, I was there and I was part of whatever shift and change was happening. What if I told you you're around at that point right now? That we are at 0 time.
Mm-hmm.
And now you might be saying, we're just full of BS. If you look at all the ancient cultures, their ancient cultures, their ancient books, their ancient teachings, all call this time period the age of creation. The Mayan culture, people say, they talk about December 12th, 2012 was the end of their calendar. No, the end of their calendar was December 12th, 1990. Was it 92? 92. It's half where it was. Yes, 92. And it was a 20-year period of uncertainty in their calendar. They didn't know which way it would go because that was the flux.
Yep.
2012
were we going to destroy ourselves, or were we going to make it?
Exactly. 2012 was the, hey, where are we going to go? Now, they predicted it. The Egyptians predicted it. The Incans predicted it. The Tibetans predicted it. They all said the same thing. This is the age of enlightenment, the age of new consciousness, the age of creativity, the age of just a new life. And they all said this is the time period right now that it's going to happen. So you can say blah, blah, blah. We were on 2 paths. We went to the right path. So
we got lucky.
Think about it. If we are at what we can call time 0 right now, maybe 10, maybe 15, we really are. And this is when we are now can start going in and start using these gifts that we've always had, these biological things inside of us with a purpose well beyond what we ever thought. And this is going to be the time.
And that's exactly what this is all about, Jacqueline. You hit it right on the head. Developing your intuition and your inner knowing, and that's what it's all about. It's coming into this time of using the clairvoyance and the clairsentience and the clairaudience, and there's a couple others, but those are the big 3 hitters. And that's what this is all about. It's getting into connection with the more that is in this life experience that we can't use our 5 senses with. And that's what this is all about. Knowing that This isn't, you don't have to be special to be able to do this. You don't have to be born to be able to do this. This is something that we are all predispossessed. We have it built in within us to do. Whether you choose to tap into it or not, that's your free will.
Right.
But there's so many changes that have been happening on the planet in the energies that have been helping people to awaken or to develop in a way that they know there's more going on than we can see. And, you know, like Thomas was saying, the control is the concern, that the people in control want to be able to control this and they can't. So they've been trying to control what we know and what they'll validate so that we stay in this not sure state, right? Keeping us kind of like, well, maybe not. And I'm not sure what year, but I know that there was a lot of declassified information that has come out in the last decade. Really, the government saying, oh, yeah, by the way, we did know these things. You know, that a lot of this kind of intuition, clairvoyance, you know, has been used by the government. So this is something they've known, but we've all been programmed through media, through the government, through different ways to not be able to use these gifts that are going to allow us to change everything, change our energy systems, change the way we live, change the way we communicate. So this is big. This is big stuff. And that's what this is all about. This opening up to your intuition, opening up to being able to trust and act on what you're receiving, because what you're receiving, if you're living in the light, if you're living in integrity, then what you're receiving is going to be beneficial. And that's important, that you're living in integrity.
Right. And you hit it there. You know, we've known, people have known this stuff and it's been there. But what's happening now is science and spirituality are actually coming together.
And it's beautiful.
And together, they're proving each other right.
Yeah.
And we're seeing this, we're experiencing it. And if I can end on anything, you can activate your 10th chakra, your pineal gland, this whole thing, go through this state very simply. But you have to make that choice, and you have to just breathe in, contract your muscles as the breath goes down and goes up, and just hold that breath at the back of your neck, the back of your head for a second or two before you release. And repeat that. And you'll start feeling the chemicals releasing through your body. You'll start feeling different sensation. You'll start getting what you need. And if you do that, and you do it during a meditative state, you're going to open yourself up even more to that which you want, to senses that you never thought of having before. And a peace will come over you, and a calm. Because it's all about love and joy when you get into these states, because that's what's being released, and that's what's taking over.
Yes.
And meditation is not always having these visions, getting these colors, getting these messages. It's always different, and it's always what you need at this time. And sometimes it's just healing of the cells, releasing the melatonin to just rest the body and get out of the stress. And maybe sometimes you're having weird dreams about people. You're like, what the heck am I doing with this person? But hey, a lot of things happen. Like this morning, I woke up and there we go. I was in this house with, I know who was there. I know some of the people. I didn't know all of them. Like, what the heck am I doing here? I'm looking for this person. And then that person validated the house and the field and all that stuff later on that day when I told that person the dream. I'm like, oh, wow, look at this. Anyways, that's all I have.
Well, it was a good one. So thank you all for being here with us this Thursday. We will look forward to seeing you next Thursday. Have a beautiful rest of your day and weekend to come. And just sending you so much love and so many blessings. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.